GERE
This is a GERE Network production.
Broadcasting worldwide on GearNetwork.com, sharing wrestling news and opinions. It's Talking Wrestling, and your host, JC.
And hello again, everybody. Welcome to Talking Wrestling. This is episode 35 here on the GERE Radio Network. How's it going? My name is John Cimino, a.k.a. JC Money for you long-timers. I'm going to go ahead and pay the bills here. This podcast, as always, is sponsored by the GERE Network App. If you go on to GearNetwork.com, or if you're very brave, go to GearNetwork.mobapp.at. So one of those tricky ones there, but once you get the link, go there on your phone, download it, or if you're on Android, you can download it, you get the app right away, it'll be sweet, it'll be right there. And if you're an Apple user, just save it to your home screen. It is tremendous. It is the easiest, breeziest way to support us, not only by shopping Amazon, but there's some of our other affiliates like Skechers and IndyCard Media and all that, as well as listen to all of our products, follow all of our social networks in real time, and so much more. It is the GERE Network app. Download it today for free. That's free. Zero. F-R-E-E. You spend nada. So how's it going? All right, let's cut that music down a little bit. This is episode 35, and got a big one for you. Got, and when I say big, I mean big. Western New York wrestling standout, a close personal friend of mine, Mr. Big Cat Lemmer, on the heels of his IWF match with one former WWE Tag Team Champion and alumni, Scotty to Hotty, out in Brockport for IWF Brockport Brawl. We'll talk a little bit about that a little later on, but we're going to talk to Big Cat Lemmer tonight, and we are going to hit up on some of his history. For those of you, he did make an appearance on Get Ready America, where he divulged into a lot of his history and stuff like that, so if you are in the mood to kind of go back a bit, I think it's maybe our second or third episode of Get Ready America. I know it was earlier on in the Get Ready America series, but BCL appeared on there. He is a friend of mine. He's a friend of the networks, and we're going to be happy to have him on. And he will be on later today to talk about Scotty to Hotty. And also, we're going to talk about the IWF card specifically that's announced so far. Kind of give a little props to what's going on there, because they are doing some good things there, to be quite honest with you. I haven't actually seen a show live and in person. That will happen by the time the year ends, don't worry. But from what I was able to see with different things that have been put out there and some of the matches that were put online and stuff, I mean, the vibe seems really good, the crowd seems really good, some of the matches seem pretty good. I actually reviewed one. It was funny. I got a Facebook message, I want to say maybe now about 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point, from an IWF wrestler. I'm not going to name his name because I'm not sure if he wants his name thrown out there, but he asked me to watch his match specifically and give him pointers. And to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, there was a couple of things that were in there, but, those kind of like rookie mistakes or whatever, and I kind of, replied to him and told him about that, and he was good with the feedback, was very happy with it. So, but it was cool that, not only did he ask me to do that for him, other people asked me to do that for him too, but, just to be able to kind of see what it looks like. But, seeing it on YouTube, seeing it on your phone or on your computer or whatever you watch it on, not quite like the actual live experience. So, I give you my word, I will come to you live from it. I will either, I don't know if I'll come to you live from there. I might record a couple of things while there, but I will go to an IWF show this year. I can't promise it'll be before the OSPW appearance on July 9th, but maybe it will be. Who knows? They run a couple of shows before then. So, but all right, let's get right into wrestling news. Thankfully, no wrestling deaths to report as of recording. Thank the wrestling gods for that one, because it was just back to back to back. It was just ridiculous, and no more. No more. 2016, please. No more. Thank you. Not just wrestling deaths, but deaths entirely. I mean, come on now. It's crazy. But, all right. There has been, speaking of crazy, a lot of WWE releases. Usually once a year, you get news of releases, and it kind of comes in, half dozens, baker's dozens, whatever, This past week, WWE released 8 or 9 people: Hornswoggle, El Torito, Zeb Coulter, or Dirty Dutch Mantel for you longtime fans, Alex Riley, the former protege of The Miz and NXT commentator, Cameron, who was one half of the Funkadactyls, along with Naomi, who happens to be the wife of one of the Usos, I'm not sure who, Wade / King Barrett. It was known for a while that Wade Barrett was not going to be renewing his contract. WWE did him a solid, and I guess just let him go now. He can take bookings much earlier than he was originally supposed to. Santino Marella, who had not been wrestling but was still under contract with them doing promotional work and things of that nature. Santino Marella has been released. Damian Sandow, another one who was released, and it wasn't really, and from the reports that I'm getting is that it wasn't really for anything in particular other than WWE just wanted to shake up the roster. Damian Sandow already has a lot of independent bookings lined up, so he's in a good position where he could at least make some money and capitalize on his name and his popularity. There was a hashtag Pray for Sandow trend on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and then he got released, so maybe that's the best thing. But of all of those, for me as a longtime fan, this one had me surprised the most. After 30 years of being employed by WWE, Steve Lombardi, a.k.a. the Brooklyn Brawler, in the early 80s, but he was mainly used as an enhancement talent, either under his name, Steve Lombardi, or as the Brooklyn Brawler. In 1994, during the Major League Baseball strike, WWE, of course, always makes parodies of different real-life scenarios. Dressed up Brooklyn Brawler as Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. He had a tiny little push there to kind of poke fun of the Major League Baseball and the strike and everything like that. But interesting to see him being released after all this time. He's been, a loyal employee there. So hopefully WWE honors him in their theoretical Hall of Fame. Adam Rose was suspended for a violation of the wellness policy. Now, originally, I believe it was 60 days. I can double-check that, but I'm pretty positive it was 60 days for a second violation. But then, he was recently, and as of recording, it was this morning. So we're recording this particular segment on Wednesday night. It was this morning he was arrested following a domestic dispute with his wife. And because of this, and per WWE policy, he has been suspended indefinitely. He's currently, right now, being held without bail in jail. According to WWE's official YouTube page, they have posted a new teaser for the hit WWE Network show Table for Three, which features the NWO this time, but specifically Hall, Nash, and Sean Waltman. So they're saying it's the NWO. It's the Clique. I'm wondering if Hulk Hogan will be mentioned at all. WWE has removed him from the Hall of Fame and tried to remove him from history and not really mention him if they don't have to. Even as recent as their Hall of WWE World Heavyweight Champions photo section that they had, and they missed Hulk Hogan. They didn't put Hulk Hogan in any of his championship reigns there, and he had 6 of them. So, that's he's also Hulk Hogan. So, it's just whatever. It's stupid that WWE does not acknowledge him at this point, but that's what they do. They do things like that. They also sign executive / wrestler Triple H to a new multi-year wrestler contract with the WWE. The contract is dated May 9th and is for 3 years, so it's set to expire just after WrestleMania 35, and it will renew annually and automatically. That's automatically for you. It will renew annually unless one party informs the other of an intent to terminate the contract, which basically means he's there for life. All right, we're going to move on now to some local news, IWF news here. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast, IWF presents Brockport Brawl. It is Friday night, May the 27th at 7 p.m. at the Brockport Elks Lodge, which is 4400 Sweden Walker Road. I do not have the zip code because I don't really care about the zip code. I just plug it into GPS and boom, there we go. We're right there. But you do the same thing, you'll find it there. But 4400 Sweden Walker Road, limited front row seats are still available, and you can get some information by visiting GereNetwork.com. You can too. I'll throw something on there, sure. But Facebook.com/TheIWF. And the announce card so far right now, Coconut Jones versus Frank the Tank Burlington. It is a 3 stages of hell match. And again, like I said the last episode, either it hasn't been done here or hasn't been done in a very long time. So I'm going to be interested to see this because Frank the Tank is a tank in every sense of the word, student of the game. I've been in the ring with him before. He is not one to mess around when he's in there. And Coconut Jones, he's a fun-loving guy, kind of has a unique build to him, but the dude can go. And so this one's going to be a very, very interesting match. I'm curious, though, the 3 stages of hell typically is like, I would think it's kind of like a 3 falls match. So what happens if Coconut or Frank the Tank sweep, go straight 2-0? Do they get to that 3rd stage? I'm very interested to see what these 3 stages are. So it's definitely something that is interesting and it is different. It's not done often. So as I mentioned earlier, Scotty 2 Hotty, former WWE Superstar Scotty 2 Hotty, comes here to take on Big Cat Lemmer. Big Cat will be on the next segment. We're going to ask him about this, among other things, what his goals are in his return to wrestling. He'd been out for a while, a few years, and then he came back, and now he's back in IWF regularly. So, what is his goals? What does he want to accomplish in this run that he's going on here? So, stay tuned for that. The return of Bobby Ocean, and very, 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 very sketchy details right now. All I was told by my IWF correspondent is that the IWF Tag Team Champions are going to be in action. However, they will be in singles action. They will not be defending the Tag Team Championship. They will not be in a tag team match. That's all I know right now. That's all the IWF offices were giving me. So the details on that will be in the days to come. Again, Facebook.com/TheIWF. That's TheIWF. You can go on there, and then I'll also throw some up on the Talking Wrestling Facebook page, which is Facebook.com/Talking Wrestling Podcast. You can go on there and interact with us. We're going to try and go live one of these Talking Wrestling episodes. I wanted to do it this one, but I just don't think it's going to happen. But in any event, moving on to local, another local show going on. OSPW's next show is going to be Saturday, May 14th. Tripp versus Sean Carr. That one is one of special interest for me because, well, that's part 1 of Tripp's Final Four, and then, of course, part 2 of Tripp's Final Four, which will be July 9th, against me. And I have been very, very quiet, throwing funny little jabs or whatever here and there on Instagram and Twitter and whatever, and I haven't really broken down to actually let Tripp and let the audience know what is going to happen. And I'm just gonna take this time now to break it down. And yes, this may sound promo-ish. Is this work? Is this shoot? Whatever it is. But bottom line, here's what you're gonna see. This is not going to be your stereotypical thing. See, with every JC versus Tripp match, and there's been 2 of them over the course of 10 years, there has been kind of a story above it. The first time Tripp and I wrestled, it was at the climax of the NEW versus OSPW war back in 2006. And originally I was supposed to wrestle. I was the Northeastern champion at that time, and I was supposed to wrestle their TV champion, which at that time was Al Jihad. But for some reason or another, Jihad couldn't make it. So they sent Tripp, who was their 17,000-time Rookie of the Year. And it was me versus Tripp. Tripp was coming into NEW turf. I was defending NEW turf and my championship. And I beat Tripp. And so that was in 2006, right? Yeah, 2006. 2006, that was when that happened. So we fast forward to 2010. Just after NEW closed, the Underworld Cartel was at the height of their second run, the second incarnation with the, with when we had the Bone Crushers, myself, Titus, Tiger, that incarnation of the cartel, Latin Soldier. And, we were at the height there. Tiger was the OSPW champion, And Tripp had to get through me, who was coming back to the company, not necessarily on the greatest terms with the Underworld Cartel. And apparently what I had to do was Tripp had to beat me in order to get his title match with Tiger Smith. So I worked it out where I would actually, if I beat Tripp, I would challenge Tiger Smith because I was pissed at him for involving Brian Emanon in the cartel, and so that's kind of how that all tied together. And then, of course, Tripp went on to beat me, and then went on to beat Tiger, and then went on to be the man for the next 4 years at OSPW. This particular match, the rubber match here, is something that Tripp and I always talked about wanting to do, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Tripp and I are friends, and I'm not going to go on here on this podcast, and I'm not going to cut a wrestling promo in character and while trying to maintain that I'm being a real analyst when I'm talking about wrestling. I'm not trying to intertwine the two. But here's the truth of the matter. I have not made a lot of friends in the higher ups at OSPW. As a matter of fact, I've been very critical of the product in the past. I've laid off on it in recent years because of somewhere else that's been leap years worse than anything that they or anybody else in this area could ever produce. And you know who I'm talking about, and I don't need to mention them. By the way, how was that bag of dicks there that you got sent? Thank you, and shout out to the Misguided Musing podcast and the folks at dicksbymail.com. Go to facebook.com/musingpodcast to learn all about them, because that's their gimmick. But I digress. Back to me versus Tripp. Tripp, I want you to have fun and be safe on the 14th. And if you beat Sean Carr, great. If you don't beat Sean Carr, please try not to get too hurt, because I want you to be nice and fresh as a daisy, considering that there's 8 weeks between shows. I'm sure you will. And come July 9th, we are going to finish this little rivalry that we've had, this friendship and this rivalry that's built on respect. You're going to get JC Money. You're going to get him. Not just the classic version of JC Money, but you're going to get a guy who's been off for 4 years, and I don't want anybody that's listening to this, any fans that are listening to this, any workers that are listening to this to be like, hey, well, he's been off for 4 years, so he's got to be rusty. See, I look at it like this, because it's like riding a bike to me. And I've been training. I've trained a couple of times with Mark House, and I've been, working out and getting into shape and working on getting into ring shape. The rust is for somebody whose mind is set on thinking, oh, well, can I do this? Or if I don't do this X amount of times, I may forget how to do this, or I may not know how to do this. No, I'm always learning. And in the 4 years that I was off, I was learning. Still watching the product, still studying it, still looking at different things. So to me, I don't see 4 years off, at least for me, as a detriment to my wrestling abilities. I didn't forget how to wrestle, So there's no rust there. I'm still sharp. I may be a little older, but I'm smart. And I've always been smart. And so that means 4 years off, while Tripp has been killing himself for the past 4 years, being the man at OSPW and carrying people like suitcases. I've been resting, I've been getting stronger, and I am fresh. I am not rusty. I am not going to be slow. It's gonna look. I can tell you this right now. It's gonna look like I've been in the ring the entire 4 years, except the big difference is my body's going to be very fresh. His is going to be beat up. So I'm going to have a very, very big advantage. But either way, I want you there. I want everybody there. OSPW. That is July 9th. That will be part 2 of Tripp's Final Four at OSPW. His third and fourth being Deacon and Eric Emanon, respectively. So there's that. And before we go ahead and go into commercial, I'd like to say a sincere and honest thank you to everybody that listens, especially the Talking Wrestling audience, specifically for Talking Wrestling. Of course, I'm very thankful for everybody that listens to every podcast that GERE puts out. You know, BLTD, Misguided Musings, Get Ready America, Talking Wrestling, you know, Football Talk when that comes out. Everybody, I'm very, very thankful for everybody that listens to that. But specifically to you, Talking Wrestling listeners, I want to really give you a big shout out and a big thank you, because this season of Talking Wrestling has been one of the highest rated shows on GERE. And I get the statistics and everything like that, but the numbers for every Talking Wrestling episode to date have been good, but especially in this season have just been more than I thought was going to be for Talking Wrestling. So y'all must like what I say, and you know what? Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. I want to tell you now that in addition to iTunes and iHeartRadio and Stitcher and Spreaker and pretty much everywhere else that you could possibly find a podcast, we are now on Google Play Podcasts. So that's right, Google finally got on the ball and has their podcast app set up, which within the Google Play music app. So go there, click on the podcasts, sign up for all of the GERE podcasts, GERE Network entirely, Talking Wrestling, Get Ready America, Misguided Musings, Better Live Than Dead, Football Talk Weekly. They are all on there. Like them, click subscribe on Google Play, or download the app. You'll get everything right there. It's the easiest way to take us with you and listen to us. So again, folks, thank you so very much. Continue to support GERE, continue to support Talking Wrestling, our podcasts, continue to support us by shopping Amazon. Very, very easy. Just click our link, do that. From the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. And as long as you're listening, we'll keep doing this. We'll be right back. You know, I'm often asked about the logos of the show and GERE Network and everything. It comes to me, JC, where do you get the designs, the cool designs for the show and everything? And I'm going to tell everybody right now, right here, you heard it here, it is Indie Card Media. Indie Card Media is a local business that specializes in making quality designs for your website or your business. Whatever you do, they can do it. If you need proof, you can look at all of our logos, or you can go to facebook.com/IndieCardMedia to see all of the designs, which include a political banner, because they've done political banners and everything. Nothing is off limits with them. Give Eric a shout at IndieCardMafia@gmail.com, and he will help you bring your design to life. Tell him GERE Network sent you, and hey, he may hook you up with a little something, or at least a smile, because you heard it here. But go to Indie Card Media Facebook. Again, facebook.com/IndieCardMedia. Do it now. Bring your designs to life. Hey everyone, John Cimino here for the GERE Radio Network, and you have asked and asked repeatedly, what is up with the app? We know you have one, and you never push it. You never do anything with it. Well, guess what? We got a better one, and it is free. It is absolutely available for you, and there's so much more you can do with it. Visit GereNetwork.com and click Get the App. It's up on the top banner, or if you're feeling really brave, head to GereNetwork.mobapp.at on your mobile phone and your mobile phone's browser, and you can take GERE Network with you wherever you go. Listen to every show on the GERE Network right from the app. You can view all of our social networks in real time. You can read GERE Network and BLTDsports.com blogs in real time, and you can also shop Amazon and help us out and help you out. It is free. Did I mention that? Again, GereNetwork.com or GereNetwork.mobapp.at. Download it right now.
Turn it up.
Banging it, banging it, banging it, banging it. Banging it, banging it, banging it, banging it.
That was interesting.
Turn it up.
You're listening to Talking Wrestling. Once again, JC Money. Back everybody to Talking Wrestling here on the GERE Radio Network, episode 35. John Cimino with you, a.k.a. JC Money. And joining me on the line, I mentioned this, and we are delivering, baby, the one and only, the incomparable. He's going to be facing former WWE Superstar Scotty on Friday night, May 27th, Elks Lodge for IWF, the International Wrestling Federation. Big Cat, my man, how's it going?
Mr. JC Money, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm living the dream as always. You know. So, we got IWF. I want to talk to you though. The last time I had you on a podcast was probably about a year and a half ago. It was for Get Ready America, and at that time we were talking about you coming back doing like a one-off. And now here we are, some 16, 17 months later. And you're all over the place with IWF. You've been on every show since they've returned. What led you to come back and continue the pursuit here? What do you feel at this stage you have left?
Yeah, JC, you're gonna find out real quick with your upcoming return to the ring. Don't think I'm not gonna talk about that, but yeah, man, it was supposed to be a one and done for ESW down in Olean. And the reaction I got was better than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think I'd have anybody remembering me, let alone in a totally different town. But that went well, and the next show came and went, and it was great. And then Ron Felco reached out to me, one of my old friends / best enemies in my career, and told me he was starting up IWF out of Brockport, and asked me if I'd be interested, and I kept telling him no, and not, didn't really want to get back into it full time, and he kept asking, and we worked something out, and it's my honor to pretty much help these younger guys get established and basically just help as much as I can. I don't plan on being around forever. I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to slowly eke my way out, but as you're going to find out soon enough, once you come back, it seems like more and more people want to get you involved. I just had a call this morning about another possible venture, and my wife's not too thrilled about it, and I'll be honest with you, my body's not too thrilled about it. But it's in our blood, man. It's the business we love, and we always seem to keep coming back. And I never thought I'd be one of those guys that left and came back and left and came back, but I didn't get to go out on my own terms. When I quote unquote retired when I broke my foot. So this is kind of my chance to have one little last run and thank all the fans that were really always with me in Rochester and all across New York. Pittsburgh when I used to go down there, Vermont with JP Black, Ohio. It's just my chance to get to go out on my own terms and say thank you to everybody. So IWF has been very good to me. Ron runs a great show. We're gaining new fans every show, and I'm really impressed with a lot of the young guys that come in. They really bust their ass. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that in your podcast, but they really do. They give it their all, and it makes me proud to see. And I love to be able to give them any advice if they want it, and even if they don't want it, I'll probably give it to them. So.
There you go. That's the gift that keeps on giving. That's we've earned that spot. It's the circle of life.
Absolutely. You had H.C. Loke as a trainer as well, and he always taught us, treat the guys going up with the same respect you're going to want to get on the way down, because you don't know who's going to be in what position. And I've always taken that to heart. I treat everybody from the ring crew guy to the guy cleaning the toilets to the guy that's main eventing. I'm always there to talk, and I try to be an ear to whoever wants to talk. Or that's just been my philosophy pretty much on life anyway. Even in the real world, I treat the janitor of the company I work for the same as I would treat the CEO. So you never know, especially in this business, who you're going to run into and depend on one day.
I don't disagree with that statement. Some people don't deserve it, legit, but they as far as I go, they have to earn that in order for me to really be scathingly angry, if scathingly is even a word, but to be that angry with them, as of course some of our frenemies out in Phelps well know. But before I get into talking about your upcoming show in IWF, I was talking a little earlier on the podcast about some wrestling news in the WWE. Last week it was a big week for WWE releases with Hornswoggle, El Torito, Zeb Coulter, Alex Riley, Cameron, Wade Barrett, Santino Marella, Damian Sandow, and the Brooklyn Brawler. Did any of those names surprise you with their releases?
You know what? Damian Sandow that really bums me out, just because the guy, he did everything, and he got over every time. And it just seemed like they never had anything for him. Santino, I mean, I know he's got his own thing going in Toronto at Battle Arts Academy, and that's going really well. In fact, Hornet, who's wrestled for IWF quite a bit, is one of their head trainers. He's over in India right now, actually working with Great Khali School. But I know Santino's got pretty much a gold mine in Toronto, and he's really making a lot of good workers out there. I mean, Hornswoggle and Cerrito, those guys, they're great for the kids, but it really ran their course, and there wasn't much more they could do. Granted, that mini TLC match they had was really entertaining and really exceeded my expectations. Cameron,
definitely was not pre-show worthy. No, I thought that match surprised everybody, and I found that I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those matches where I was like, wow, that was way better than I thought. But and as I was saying before, Cameron, and watching her on Total Divas, I don't know how much of it was shoot or how much is character, but she'll be counting that chingy or whatever she called it all the way to the unemployment line now, and that's one person that doesn't make me upset at all, because I've heard some stories about her from pretty reliable sources that she was in the business for all the wrong reasons anyway. So,
all right, and then of course the next big, I don't want to say big topic, but it's pretty big because when you are at, whether it is entertainment or professional sports or sports entertainment, when you have that spotlight, that celebrity spotlight on you, you're held to a different regard, and you have to know when not to be stupid. Saying that, Adam Rose was suspended originally for a violation of the wellness policy, which can happen. You can take a supplement that may be on the ban list you were unaware of. 8 times out of 10, most people are aware of what they're taking. And that's what it is there. Going further, recently he was arrested because he had a domestic dispute with this, and per WWE policy, he was suspended indefinitely. And at the time of the early recording of this podcast, which was on Wednesday, breaking the wall here, folks, we're recording this interview on a Thursday, and we're releasing the podcast on a Friday. Oh my God, the days are mixed. But with regards to that, how do you, as a wrestler, first of all, how do you as a person feel about seeing news like that, and especially when it involves somebody that's in the business, that's in your blood, as you mentioned earlier, that you love? Does things like that give it a black eye, and is the policy that WWE is doing with Adam Rose, suspending him indefinitely, is that a good thing?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. And I'll be honest with you. Usually, when it comes to any kind of abuse towards a woman or anything like that, I'm, completely adamant. Nowhere should that ever be allowed or condoned. I mean, I've gotten in fights myself defending women I don't know being abused by men, especially when I was younger. It used to seem to happen often. A lot of these guys think they're tough and want to hit a girl, and me, when I was a little wilder and crazier, definitely did not put up with that. But his situation, man, is I don't want to make any excuses for the guy, but I mean, he's got 2 kids, I believe, and one of them is handicapped. I mean, if you saw that 30 for 30 on NXT, which was, I thought, a phenomenal piece of television, it was just awesome, and it really made me connect with him, because I don't know, a lot of people don't know my son is autistic. He's nonverbal, and it's hard. It puts a lot of strain on the family. My wife, God bless her, she had a job making a very, very good amount of money, double what I was making pretty much, and she, as soon as he was diagnosed, dropped everything so she could be there for him with speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, different classes, different training, different seminars. And it takes a toll, because, I mean, all the stress of money was on my shoulders. All the stress of the kids was on her shoulders. And when I wasn't working, she was going to work, part-time as a hairdresser. And then I was working 2 other jobs on top of that, trying to make ends meet. And, thank God everything's starting to come together now. But it's a stressful situation, and I can't imagine being a guy on the active roster on the road 5-6 days a week, and you come home for a day and you try to, play super dad and be the super husband. And I imagine, all the stress with him with the suspension, really, probably everything just caught up with him at once. And there's, like I said, no excuse at all to ever put your hands on a woman. But from what I've read today, his wife basically begged the judge not to put a restraining order on him because of just what I said. She needs him to help with their son, and it was a situation that just got out of hand. And that, from what I understand, that's the truth, and I want to believe that because I want to believe he's a good guy, and I want to believe it was an isolated situation. But I'll never know. Nobody will know besides who was there, and I just hope it never happens again because he seems like a good guy, and I would never wish anything bad on anybody. So.
Do you see this being the proverbial Ray Rice situation with WWE where Adam Rose will do and say the right thing? And as you mentioned there, I hadn't even read that part yet, but his wife begging, the judge not to do that and kind of, wanting to keep it in-house and work through it or whatever. Do you see this as a potential for a Ray Rice situation where he won't be back to WWE, and perhaps not even, maybe some indies will pick him up, but, not be in that particular spotlight because, or part two, if he is brought back, is he going to experience a ton of backlash that, say, Ray Rice would have had he returned to the NFL?
Yeah, I don't know how they can bring him back. I mean, this is pretty serious stuff. I mean, first with the drug charges, or not charges, but the suspension, and then, the charges against your wife. I do feel he's going to be made an example of. Just going by WWE's history, they don't like negative publicity at all, let alone something like that. And I'd be shocked if he, was ever back on the active roster. I wouldn't be surprised to see him, on the Indies and eventually in TNA or something like that. But unfortunately for him, I can't imagine him back in the Fed.
Yeah, that is unfortunate news for Adam Rose, and it is what it is with that. I mean, you do the heist, you pay the price, and I don't stand for that. I know you don't either. You just said that, but I'm gonna actually I want to talk to you a little bit more about IWF, specifically your match with Scotty 2 Hotty, Big Cap. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off to a commercial and give some love to a few of our other shows. So stick around, more with Big Cat right after this. Hey, Dawn, how's it going?
Living the dream. I'm actually just getting ready to do this commercial.
Oh, you mean the commercial where I tell our listeners to tune into GERE Network every week to listen to our show, Get Ready America? That one?
Yeah, John, that's the one.
They can also listen to us talk about news, sports, whatever's on our minds, that.
And a little what's on our listeners' minds, but they're just too nice to say it.
Well, that, Dawn, is a real humdinger. Come join us this and every week for Get Ready America, exclusively on the GERE Radio Network.
And the GERE Network app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I am Ryan Wolf.
it's Mr. Perez.
And I have a question for you, Perez.
What's your question?
Do you like to listen to people talk about sports?
No. Of course I like sports and listening to people talk about sports.
Well, guess what? I have the perfect solution for you.
Solution for me?
There's a podcast
Okay.
on this very network.
This network?
Every single week you can hear it.
Really?
New content, latest and breaking news. We talk about baseball, football, hockey, basketball, soccer, UFC, whatever you want to talk about.
So sports in general.
They talk about sports in general. You got it.
I like
you
it.
know the dictionary.
I like
very,
it.
Very proud of you.
Thank you.
I must say, tune in. We are better live than dead.
You're not.
Every single week. You're not going to want to miss it. Exclusively here on the GERE Radio Network.
All right, let's move on to local stuff. It's May 27th, a Friday night. IWF Brockport Brawl. You are going to be competing against former WWE superstar Scotty 2 Hotty. How in the hell did that come about?
That's a great question, man. Ron Falco and myself, we started out pretty much every show here except for the second show when I was in the heavyweight tournament. I wrestled Jordan Falco, Ron's son, the first round. I welcome the nice little greenhorn to the business with a bunch of chops. So.
I remember seeing that promo going into that show, and I laughed at it because I was like, "That's my dude. That's Big Cat, Jordan. You don't know what you're up for, man."
You know, you're in trouble when your own father is pulling me aside 5 minutes before the show and telling me to make it count out there with him. So I had a lot of leeway in that match. That was a lot
That's
of fun.
awesome.
And to Jordan's credit, he took everything I had really well. Every chop. I mean, his chest looked like hamburger meat after the match. And to his credit, he came up and did what every young guy should do. He came up and thanked me. And I was like, man, you got my respect right there, because I really, really did not take it easy on him. I mean, this is a kid I've known since he's about 7 or 8 years old, being in the shows. And,
Yeah, I think... I can honestly say I think that the last time I saw Jordan was back when I was still involved with NWA Upstate, and you say he must have been like 7 or 8 or something. It's kind of weird to see these kids that were kids, literally in the sense, my daughter and your son's age, that are now training. And when you and in that promo you actually referenced beating up his dad, now you get to do it to the son, and I laughed for a bit, and then I stopped and I'm like, holy crap, we're the same age, man. We're getting there.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, man. I used to be able to do double shots, sometimes triple shots on a weekend. Next week and do the same thing, and now I'll be honest with you, JC. I'm kind of nervous about this upcoming 2 weeks, because I have ESW in Lockport coming up this coming Saturday. The following Friday, I have IWF in Brockport against Scotty Hotty. Then that next day, that Saturday, I'm down in Olean for ESW again. And then the following Saturday, I'm at IWF debuts in Medina, New York at the YMCA. So
I just got an invite for that randomly. I think Gavin Glass sent me that invite, and I'm like, the hell, Medina? What the hell's out there in Medina?
Yeah, apparently that's Gavin Glass's hometown, so, no pressure, kid, but you better pack the barn, because I don't want to waste my time out there. You better pack him in.
You want to pack the barn, buddy? Put me in the ring against him. I need a warm-up match.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, you think you got a one shot coming up. You wait till you start getting the calls. You're going to be we're going to be on the show together very soon. I can see the future right now.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. If indeed that happens, and I will make sure to bring my podcast recorder, so that way, clear as day, in bright, beautiful, crystal clear, high definition, you can say over the air, JC, you dumbass, I told you so.
I look forward to that, because I know it's happening, man. And I do look forward to sharing a locker room with you again, because we used to have quite a bit of fun back in the day.
Oh yeah, there will definitely. I did talk to Jordan, and I told him that I absolutely do plan on attending an IWF show in the very near future. I think I want to get this gimmick with OSPW and Trip and the one last trip tour out of the way, get that done, and then go from there. But I definitely plan on being in IWF, and I definitely plan on pulling some old school shenanigans and ribs like the old days.
I tell you what, JC, it's a lot of fun, man. It's a Fed that's just a lot of fun, a lot of good guys, a couple guys that I could do without, but whatever. That's any locker room. But it's a fun time. The crowd is always hot. I mean, there's booze, there's food. We got good sponsors. Jordan and Ron.
Jesus, what could possibly go wrong there?
Tell me about it, man. But no, John and Jordan and Ron have really just busted their butt to get this thing up and running, and I give them all the props in the world. Even though unfortunately I'm going to have to take Ron's head off again pretty soon. Because getting back to your original question about how I got in the ring with Scotty Hotty, last show I had a little I've had a little change of heart over the last couple of shows at IWF. I went from kissing babies and shaking hands to pretty much telling people to kiss off for a little bit. I like to have a little me time. You know what I'm saying? So I went and got a good old friend from back in the day, Mr. Super Beast, And we decided to take on Ron Falco and his new partner, who's a giant in his own right, Tyler Bodie, who's he's got to be about 6'8", 6'9", out of Buffalo. He's a young kid, but he's tough as an ox and he's strong as hell.
Yes, I've heard of him.
No problem. Yeah, Samoan dropped me, and I did not appreciate that too much. But yeah, me and Beast had to dispose of those two relatively quickly with the help of Mr. Scott Falco, Ron's cousin, otherwise known as Scott Pasquale. But we of course we came out on top, and Ron wanted to cry and moan because we may have hit him a couple times after the match and hurt his knee. He had a boo-boo, so he can't wrestle this show.
Oh,
so Ron made a call. Yeah, he made a call. I didn't know he had some connections like he does. And apparently Scotty Two Hotty's on a speed dial because now I'm stuck in a ring with the next WWE superstar that likes to do a worm or something with a worm, and he's not doing it to me. That's all I'm going to say.
And it's funny you mentioned speed dial because doesn't Ron still use the old rotary phone at the landline?
I'm pretty sure he does when he's
just press button A, B, or C, and it's just dial it like the old school. He's old. Ron, you're older than me, man. I can joke about that.
That's what I'm saying, man. You and me, we're not that old yet. I mean, granted, I feel like I'm 90 after a match now, but I don't know how he feels because he's about 10, 15 years older than me. So.
Oh, Jesus. All right. So that happens again Friday night, May 27th. Before we go, I'm going to break the proverbial kayfabe here, kick the wall down, and switch it up a little bit. How do you think your Bengals did on the during the draft?
Oh man, you know what? These freaking Bengals, man. I try to just cut the cord with these guys every year because they went 9-0 this year, and I couldn't even enjoy it because I knew that dreaded first round loss was coming. And sure enough, we found a new way to lose with Pac-Man and Vontaze Burfict losing their cool.
Hey man,
I'll be honest with you, I didn't blame him because I was ready to fight Joey Porter myself. I was ready to punch that moron right in his face. But
I can't stand that dude.
What the hell is he on the field for anyway? Dude retired 4 years ago or whatever. Get the hell out of here. But
I don't know. I know I was watching that game, and I was mad because the Bills knocked out the Jets because that, by all rights, it should have been the Jets versus the Bengals, and instead the Steelers were in there. So I didn't want the Steelers to win anyways. So I was rooting pretty hard for the Bengals, and then I'm like, when just those wacky calls started happening, and then Joey Porter got on the field, I found. Before I knew it, my wife had come down to the GERE Network studio / man cave and said, "You're really loud." And I'm a good distance away from the actual living room upstairs. Apparently, I was very vulgar and loud because I was mad. And I looked at her and I'm like, "This is BS." And I'm just, and she's like, "Honey, you're a Jets fan." And then she turned around and walked away. And I'm like, "Okay, good talk."
That's great because I literally had the same situation. My kids were upstairs sleeping. My wife comes down with that look, that death look, like you better shut your damn mouth because you are waking up everybody. And I just lost it. I'm like, I'm sick of these bleeps and blah blah blahs, and I lost it. And I swore. I went on Facebook, just denounced my fandom. I'm like, they found another way to lose. I'm done. And then here we are last week. I'm like, oh, who are they drafted? Man, they had a hell of a draft. This could be a good year.
Yeah, here we go. I joked around with a few of my buddies about the fact that we believe that Marvin Lewis is holding something over the owner's head because
he definitely has the nude picture of some kind of Mike.
He's got something on him because that dude has been around longer at his position, I think, than Belichick.
Oh yeah, he's the king of the 1-year contract.
Right,
he must
exactly.
He's got a safe of either Mike Brown or Mike Brown's wife nude photos or something, and he just pulls them out once a year to get that contract.
That's right. That's right.
How do you lose 5 years in a row in the first round and get rewarded with a new contract every year?
Exactly. I don't get that at all. But oh well. All right. Well, Big Cat, thanks for stopping by. You are more than welcome at any time, and I have a very strong feeling our paths are going to cross very soon.
That makes me very excited. I can't wait to share a locker room with you again. And you know what? I need to get in on some fantasy, either fantasy football, fantasy hockey, whatever. Next time you do a podcast about fantasy sports, please feel free to give me a call because I would love to. I could talk this stuff all day, man.
Well,
So
I'll tell you what. When the Talking Wrestling season ends, which is right around SummerSlam time, maybe I think the week after SummerSlam, Brandon and I get together. My buddy Brandon, who podcasts the Football Talk with me, that season kicks up. So once that gets started, absolutely, I'll have you on.
Well, that makes me very happy because I'm going to give you some breaking news right now. I follow your mock drafts in the preseason when you troll and you pick your kicker in the first round. And my God, is that I legit laugh out loud when you're like, Adam Vinatieri off the board, round 1, and I just lose it. I lose it every time I read it because it's absolutely hilarious. Because you know these guys that take fantasy football way too seriously.
They take it so seriously, though. That's the thing. And I've graduated to like with ESPN. And here's a nice little thing for everybody out there that wants to maybe dip into the world of fantasy football trolling mock drafts. ESPN does not remove their reserved retired people. Like Dante Culpepper's still on that list. So is Donovan McNabb and Randy Moss, Terrell Owens. I drafted an absolute dominant team in like 2004, and like people are getting so. There's one draft, I just typed up the last name Brown, and drafted everybody with the last name Brown and ended with the Browns defense.
That's outstanding. Outstanding.
But yes, we'll definitely get you on there, especially when Football Talk gets on.
Oh, please do, man. Please do. Because that stuff, as you can tell, I'm very much into fantasy sports. I'm in a couple of your leagues. I'm in the fantasy baseball league right now.
Yes. How you doing in that league, by the way? I've been paying attention. I've been paying attention to me and to Dawn. I haven't been paying attention to everybody else.
Yeah, my Sandlot Hambinos, Sandlot reference.
Right.
Hambino, who went on to become a professional wrestler. Go figure. The Sandlot Hambinos are the kings of mediocrity. We like to play right around the 500 level at all times.
Oh,
so,
well, you know what? The thing is with the scoring this year, it's scored by stats. So, and at any given time, somebody from the bottom can make a run and be right up at the top and right in the thick of things real quick. So, different strategy this year, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good time, and it keeps me occupied till football and hockey come back. So. I like it.
All right, man. All right, Big Cat. I will talk to you. Thanks again for calling in, and you have an open door. So we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
I appreciate it, brother, and I do look forward to seeing you again real soon.
Absolutely. Take care, my man.
See you.
Big Cat Lemmer, everybody. Hell of a guy. Longtime friend of mine. I mean, we go way back. We go way back to the New Millennium days. I broke in, and he was there, and he was big then. He's big now. But it's going to be great. So, again, you can see Big Cat Lemmer Friday night, May 27th, 7 o'clock p.m., the first bell at the Brockport Elks Lodge. It is IWF Brockport Brawl. And again, Big Cat takes on Scotty 2 Hotty. Hit up the IWF on Facebook. It's facebook.com/the IWF for details on tickets. There's limited front row seats still available. So go see Big Cat, welcome Scotty 2 Hotty to the area, and send him back out a loser. All right. Thanks for tuning in to Talking Wrestling, episode 35. We got 35 out of the way. We got 5 more till we hit 40. And speaking of 40, Get Ready America, episode 40. That is coming. We are going to be recording that this weekend. It's going to be amazing, and you should check it out, as you should check out all the podcasts here on the GERE Network, which you can hear on iTunes, Spreaker, and now the Google Play Music Podcast. That's right. I said it earlier. Go on there, subscribe, like, give us 5 stars. Tell us what you think. Leave reviews. Or just download the damn app and help us out anyways. But anyways, this is a copyrighted podcast of the GERE Radio Network, and any rebroadcast or reproduction without the express written permission of the GERE Radio Networks is strictly prohibited. The executive producer of this fine program is a fine lady herself, Mrs. Dawn Semino. Tune in. We're going to have another episode of Talking Wrestling in another 2 weeks. And I will announce the guest when the show starts. How about that? So for everybody here at the GERE Network Studios, this is John Cimino saying so long, everybody. Good night now.
Recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the GERE Network.